We are Big Love Hug. All right, I think that was our best one. Great.
That's what we say every time. And then we say that every time.
It just gets better and better. Michael Frante's tour, he was thinking, like, I watched his little video, like, what should we call it? What, just throw out some words. And he started with big. And then he said big. I was like, he's going for love next. It's the Big, Big Love Tour.
Oh, gosh, that's close.
I know. We are like this with
him.
Michael Franti.
Yeah, we might need to message him. He's a big love hugger.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a huge, he's big.
Yeah, he is.
Hi, Aim. It's nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Jess. It's funny that I'm in California and you're in Oregon and I'm all bundled up and you're like naked outside.
For those listeners that are not seeing the video, I'm not naked.
He's not really naked, but you know,
I'm not wearing
a couple
lot.
Straps. Yeah, I just see a couple straps.
I'm wearing a tank top and pants. But yes, it's true. It's very warm. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to see things in your window. Reflections. Reflections. That's what we do here on podcasts, right? We reflect.
We do.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Love and trust. But the subheading is love everyone, trust no one.
Ba, ba, ba.
Ba, 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 ba. Do, 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 do. Love everyone, trust no one. That's one of my personal mottos. And it's not really a motto, but it is something I said once that stuck. I said
kind of an edgy idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Both are kind of edgy. To not trust anybody is kind of edgy.
Yeah.
You're like out there alone in the world. But loving everyone, it's also edgy. Like everyone?
Everyone.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
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 So where should we start? Where do you want to start with this? How should we unpack it?
Yeah. Love everyone. Trust no one.
Well, let's start with love everyone, because that's
right.
where we begin. So this goes back to actually something that maybe we talked about in an earlier podcast, but certainly we've talked about in our friendship. The idea that everyone in any moment is doing their very best given what they know in that moment.
Yes.
Like everyone.
Everyone's always doing their best.
Which is not to say that they can't learn more and do something different in some future knowing and learning more about themselves. But in the moment, everyone is doing the best they can given what they know.
Yeah. And even beyond, and I do believe that, and it's really helpful to believe that, to give people always kind of the benefit of the doubt and have more curiosity than blame or judgment.
And compassion and empathy.
And that's kind of like a statement about behavior. But I also like to just tune into people's essences, like they're just very basic life force. You know, the thing that's shown out when they were a baby, or the thing that'll be there when they're dying.
Right.
You know, that part of them that's just a human in human form, you know, or a spirit in human form.
Yes. Yeah.
And from that place, it's so easy to love everyone.
Yeah.
And that they're all reflections of us. You know, every person is is part of my dream. You know, every person is a part of your dream. You know.
For me, so I love that practice too. It was like seeing somebody on the street, just somebody who maybe looked like they're really struggling, and imagine them as a baby. Like something happened between that pure, innocent, untainted spirit that entered a body. Like life happened, a lot of heavy life probably happened, to go from that innocent, untainted spirit to this person who's really, really struggling.
Yeah.
And to sit and feel into that spirit, and that shifts the experience of the person, you know, which isn't to say like I'm going to invite them into my home, or, I mean, it depends, maybe I would, but just it helps me feel love and compassion for everyone in a moment.
Yeah.
There's something else that you said too. Oh, that they're all reflections of me or part of my dream. I even feel like there's no difference between them and me. Like the spirit, it's the same spirit. It just resides in a different human spacesuit.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of it too, for
Right.
sure,
Right.
which makes it
Yeah.
easy to love everybody.
Right. Down at the essence level, we are all the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or there's, we've probably also mentioned this on another episode, but that practice of seeing everybody through the eyes of God, if you believe in a God or a larger spirit, looking through those eyes at everybody, and then also seeing everybody as a piece, like that they also are looking through the eyes of God,
Yeah.
like that we are all like fragments of that deeper, greater spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I do as a personal practice really regularly is like imagine everybody was my client, because whoever's my client, I'm on their side. I'm always trying
Mm,
to help whoever walks through my door. Like it's not I'm on their side against anybody. It's just I'm on their side. Like I'm for them. I am for them. I'm there to help them if I can, or to at least to relate to them or receive them or love them. So whenever I hear like a polarized discussion, like somebody comes to me and they're blaming the other person, I just immediately imagine the other person as my client, like
mm,
I refuse to, especially without hearing any stories, hearing both sides, I refuse to take sides, because there's always another spirit,
right.
another perspective, another story going on.
That's a really beautiful practice. For me, in my practice with massage, I feel really fortunate that people come and they literally get naked. They get really vulnerable. Like sometimes there's not even a handshake. Like a new client, like we might not even shake hands. We have like a little discussion, they fill out a piece of paper, and then boom, they're naked. And there's something really neutralizing about stories and personalities, and like it's just love is present. I remember years ago working on somebody who was a Navy SEAL, and he couldn't tell me anything about what he did because it's like top secret, and I could extrapolate that he killed people. Like I knew that his job was really hard, and if I had met him on the street or in some other situation, there might be some judgment there or some ideas of who he was. He was super conservative, and like we seemed like very different people. But
Mhm.
on the table, mask off, human. We just found a connection from the heart and really grew to like love and respect each other in this way that might not have happened. So having that experience for the 30 years I've been doing massage, it becomes easier to do that when I meet somebody on the street with their clothes on.
Just imagine them naked on your table.
Just imagine everybody naked, like mask off,
Yeah.
clothes off,
Yes.
like, yeah.
That's, I have like a little bit of like tears welling when you say that thing about masks off, because it's just so painful that what happens with life is that we learn to put on like all these layers of masks. We learn to protect ourselves and to shine out what we think other people want, or the winning formula or whatever,
Right,
is successful for us, and we wind up with masks on.
right. What do you
And
mean by winning formula? I know what you mean, but
oh
for those who
yeah.
don't understand, that's a term.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just understood it the first time I heard it, which is why I didn't qualify it. But it's
Oh, yeah.
from Landmark, and it's just like you could probably say it better than me, but it's like a behavior or a way of being that is successful for you, so you continually repeat it, and then suddenly it's like more of a crutch than a support.
You're stuck in it.
You're stuck in it. Yeah.
Right. So an example would be like as a child, you were really nice. And then you realize, oh, if I'm nice, then I'll get what I want. And then as you grow older, you're sort of stuck in this pattern of being nice, which
Mm,
isn't necessarily authentic, but it worked then. And it might not even work now, but you're kind of stuck in that pattern. So
right.
winning is not really winning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Even as you're saying that about nice, I'm like curtailing my smile, I'm like, don't do it, Amy. Don't put
Don't
that
be
fake smile
nice.
on. It's not even fake. It's just like naturalized there, but it's from exactly that, from
Right,
being nice as a winning formula.
right,
Yeah.
right. So this is an interesting, I think, segue into trust, right? About we put on these masks to protect ourselves, to sort of get the response that we want, because there's some level maybe of a mistrust that it's okay to just be who you are.
Right. Definitely.
So, okay, so the other piece of this is love everyone, trust no one. Okay,
Right.
so what is that? How did that come to be in your life as your motto or sort of demi motto?
Well, I think for me it was really personal about my parents getting divorced and my whole life getting turned upside down. And I just, from a young age, decided like I had needed to do this life on my own. I made it like a really conscious decision when I was young, to do this life on my own on an emotional level, to emotionally not trust anyone because on the surface, like what was presented to me, or I was perceiving that this was presented as my stability, got completely, removed. And my parents weren't who I thought they were, and nothing was what I thought it was. And I was like, oh, you can't trust anything, which
Hmm,
actually wound up being okay for me because I know that things change. I know that things always change. So, what does trust even mean? What are we saying when we say I trust somebody? What are we trusting? Are we trusting them to not change?
that doesn't resonate with me because everybody changes all the time. One thing that I think of is like if somebody does what they say they're going to do, like they're count onable, they're reliable. You know,
Yes.
so you can trust. I mean, on one level, I think it's important to trust people, but maybe also have more trust in yourself as a not a backup plan, but that if you're solid in yourself, then it doesn't matter what happens.
Hmm.
You know, people can come and go, or things can change, and you have a solid ground to stand on in your own heart. That's something that doesn't come naturally for me. It's not my experience growing up. I didn't get that message. Like, I didn't get that I can only count on myself.
Right.
So, this is something I'm learning as an adult to really lean into myself instead of looking for somebody else. Like, here's my heart. Will you take care of it? I
Right.
trust you. Can I trust you with my heart? Because I really want to give it to you, which has its problems.
There's a lot of problems. They drop it on the floor like a sack of meat.
But there's something beautiful in trusting somebody else, but not giving the whole heart away.
Right, right. That's why they say peace in my heart.
Ah, can I
Take a
trust you
piece
with
of
a
my heart.
piece? You get just a piece.
Just a
And most
little
of it lives
nibble.
here. Like, this is a new, it's really kind of new-ish for
Hmm.
me to lean into myself. You know, I'm not comfortable being alone. That's something that I'm having to learn is to lean in, lean back, like one of the things I have written down in my house is center my center in my center.
Hmm.
Something I say regularly because my center hasn't been in my center. It's been like been looking for somebody else for my center. So
Right.
this concept of like trust no one, like really trust myself and trust the flow, trust that it's all going to be okay, even if my heart gets broken, if that's even possible, even if I get hurt or so,
A
if
bit,
I
a piece can
experience
get
it,
broken, but it can repair.
just a piece.
Just a bite.
You know, even if things happen that make me sad or upset or angry or whatever, like just trust that it's all part of the river that goes to the ocean.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
that's the trust.
Trust in the flow, trust in life, trust in the greater order, trust. Yeah, because even when you say like trust in myself, I think, can I even trust myself? Like, is
Hmm.
trust really important? Like, what is this whole thing about trust?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, other than the flow of life and the story, it's like process and state. In process work, there's those two concepts, and process is when things are flowing, and states are when, we've stopped. And it always goes back to process, it's like there's always going to be a flow. So if I learn to trust, like, this is my house, here comes a fire, here comes an earthquake, here,
Right.
if I learn to even trust like my body, like, I mean, I do. And at the same time, a lot of people, I'm just thinking about people who suffer in their bodies a lot, that they might not feel like they can even trust themselves or their bodies or their intuition, that there's, yeah. Just, but if we can get with process, if we can
Right.
trust flow, if we can trust change, if we can just like let things move and get going, it just feels easier. You know, trust and change.
I said something pretty smart the other day.
Oh, good. Let's
So I'm
capture
going to
it
share it here.
forevermore right here.
So a friend of ours is a school teacher and it's getting towards the end of the school year. And she said, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can do this. And the wise thing that came out of my mouth was you don't have to do anything. The end of the school year is going to come anyway. You know, you don't have to do anything. It's just going to come. You know, there's stuff to do, but there's nothing you have to do to make it come. You just hang on. The flow is going to take you right there.
Right. You could struggle your way there, you could fight your way there, you could fear your way there, or you could just kind of like let the end of the school year come.
Because
Yeah.
no matter how you are with it, it's going to come anyway.
Yeah. That's how I feel. I'm getting my wisdom teeth out next week. And it's like I could fret about it, or I could just let it come when it comes. Same thing with
Yeah,
death, right? I can fret about it, or one day it's just going to come. It's going to be that
yeah.
moment. Yeah. That's the big moment of trust, isn't it?
Yes,
Last
it
breath,
is.
that last moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So something that you said about not even trusting your intuition, that's kind of interesting. So one of the things I've been thinking about is, or thinking about and looking into is like, what is my nervous system doing? You know, when I'm in a situation or whatever in life, like taking the time to pause and to feel in my body what is actually happening. And I feel like that's a way that I'm learning to trust my intuition, that is sort of a tap into like my body's wisdom. It's not my mind, it's not my thoughts, it's not my wants and desires, it's actually it lives in my body. And that seems pretty wise, you know, to feel what it feels like this doesn't feel, I don't feel like this is in alignment with what's best because my nerves are all jangly. Yeah, that's a new one for me too, is to pause and check in with my nerves, my nervous system.
It's great. Or like any weird little thing that your body does. It's like all full of information, and we can be so disconnected from the messages from our bodies, and we can not trust them, you know? And uh, yeah, I also really trust my body. And if I can be on the same side as my body and remember to listen to it, I can get so much good information from it. Lately, I've just been really aware of being able-bodied, you know, and like
Mm-hmm.
that it's a privilege that like when I get a little pain or a little this or a little that, a little headache, you know, it's passing, and I just feel sensitive to people who have deeper, more mythic, more chronic processes. It's still I think it's probably a long-term development of trust in self or trust in the body, you know, when you have your body seems to be against you.
Yeah.
And there's always a lesson there, you know. I really believe that, but I also feel cautious about saying that, you know, because I'm not in that position. And it's real easy to say from this position of feeling able-bodied.
Yep. It is a privilege
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
I often think about that actually because I'm really attached to my body working and
Mhm.
being strong and able bodied. And it won't always be this way. I know it won't always be this way, um, unless I die suddenly,
Right.
which could happen, you
Then
know.
it
But
won't
if
be.
right, and then I won't know.
Right, right.
But if I live long enough that you know the body breaks down, like how will I respond to it? I'm curious about that because I have been so attached to it,
Yeah,
you know. And who will I be? How will I meet it
yeah,
when that happens?
right.
Hopefully, with lots of love and compassion. Um,
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have like community around it, you know, other people whose bodies are also kind of more challenging to live inside, or we'll see.
mhm,
We'll see what that trip is like, right?
right?
It's such a blessing to have a body that feels healthy, that
Yeah,
feels vibrant and
it's amazing.
full of energy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I often say, you know, we're in these bodies for such a short amount of time, and in bodies that work that are able-bodied for even shorter.
right.
You know, like don't take it for granted. Is there more about not trusting people our
I'll,
way?
I'll say something that's always really stood out to me. In my first Buddhism class in college, it wound up turning me into a religion major, this class. And the teacher's name was Jan Willis, and she was up there, and it was like a 400 person class. It was an intro class. And she was telling us, she was giving this example of people, and they're in a relationship or something, and one of them goes to the other, "You changed." And she just was really dynamic and expressive about it, like, "You changed." Like it's the worst thing in the world to change, you know? And I think that that just planted that seed in me, is like, we can't, who you are today won't be who you are tomorrow. So whoever you are, that's wonderful. And I love interacting with that. And it's cool to experience you in this form. And I can't trust that that is going to stay, you know? All kinds of things could happen. You could change, everybody can change. And that's why I think it's important not to trust people, because if we do, we can like lock them into a box. We can, you know, we cast other people in roles. So even like you were saying before, some people are very reliable. So if we all think that so and so is really reliable, then they don't get to be unpredictable, because we all have cast them into that reliable role. And I don't want to be the person who does that. I'd rather just be this strand of light interacting with other strands of light and finding each other in moments, however we happen to be dangling and however we happen to be shining and whatever types of movements we happen to be making.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just really wary of roles, because we get polarized, and then we got a mask on, and I put the
Yep.
mask on you, you put the
Yep.
mask on me, and I don't want the masks, and I don't want you to have the masks.
I mean, it's such a strong example looking at like family of origin,
Yeah.
when those original masks get stuck on, and then you like go off and like become this other person and change and grow and then come back to being family origin, and you get treated exactly the same way you were when you were 8.
Right.
Like,
The mask's on. Right.
right? No wonder it's hard to go home, Like that's not who I am anymore, but that's who you see me to be, and we're stuck in these roles and stuck in these boxes unless we update them.
Yeah.
One
Right.
of the cool things that I see, which is awesome, is in this I lead 6-week program through microdosing with psilocybin, and in the 6 weeks, people really shift and grow and stretch and see new pathways, and like it just, you're it just the neuroplasticity. You get to make new choices, and some people really shift a lot in 6 weeks. And at the end of the 6 weeks, the invitation is to go back to your loved ones and see if they've noticed a change. And then the invitation is whatever they say, share with them the changes that you feel so that they can see that new you instead of that box that they put you in. Give them, invite them to see new parts of you so that they can update how they see you, right? And
Right.
like that's a game changer. And just, I mean, it really is. Whether they see it or not, share with them what you see so they can start seeing it.
Right. Give them the template. Show them
Yeah.
the new, the shiny skin under the mask. Right.
Gosh, what if we did that with our family of origin?
Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be cool. That'd be a
There's
cool
a
conversation.
great book by Don Miguel Ruiz. He wrote The Four Agreements.
Hmm.
And this book is called The Actor, and it's all about the masks that we
Yeah.
wear, not
What
people.
what would happen if you trusted people, but not really?
Exactly. Well, that's actually what I'm working on. So, you know how we're going in opposite directions.
Uh-huh.
So I got really good at being alone, but I'm pretty awkward with people, like I
Mm.
like go out there a little bit and then I run back, I retreat. And so I'm working on softening my sternum. I have this total like shield on my heart.
Mm.
So I massage it a lot. I have my cat purr down into it. I
Oh.
even I just discovered that I could put my inner critic right on my heart, and
Huh.
it helps a lot. I had
Huh.
like a little owie happen the other day, and I started like getting confused with the myself and the inner critic, and I just picked him up and I started walking around
Hmm.
with him, and then I realized he wanted to be right there on my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, but all that to say that I it's my task to soften and to open more and to trust a little bit. So just know what, love everyone mostly and trust nobody except a little bit.
Wait, what about the first part? Still love everyone.
Yeah. Well,
What's mostly?
mostly. Like it's hard to love Putin, I have to say. Like it's just it's just hard to love some people who like do so much pain and damage, and it's just kind
But
of
what if
like
like baby Putin? Like
maybe.
go back to like baby
Yes.
Putin.
Yeah.
Like hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, it's true.
That's another thing. Like hurt people
It's
hurt people. Like he was a baby. He
yeah.
was that innocent, untainted, like you don't have to
Yeah.
love what he does. You can freaking hate what he does.
Right. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Love
I actually don't
everybody.
have a, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you can always find something in somebody that,
Love everybody.
love
I'm keeping
everyone.
keep that one.
Nice job, Jess. You held that
Whew.
line. Yeah.
Yes,
Love
yes.
everyone.
And the other piece too, like your inner critic or like massaging this, like I had a facial the other day, which is so much more than a facial. I always just weep at the end of it. Like it's so
Mm.
powerful. And she laid rose quartz right over my
Mm.
heart.
Yeah.
That's just another like heart softening
Look what I have
tool.
right here. Rose
Mm-hmm.
quartz heart.
Yeah,
It's
there
in
you
my heart.
go. Yeah. It's just almost the shape of your sternum.
I'm sticking it in there.
There you
I think it'll
go.
even stick to my skin if I press it on right. If you're listening, I just stuck a rose quartz flat heart on my chest.
It's
Look,
beautiful.
it does stick.
Hey, it did stick.
Yeah, it
I have
wants
the
to
same
move.
one. I have the same. It's one of those like facial mushing, like you're supposed to like
Oh,
put oil on your face and then rub to
oh,
like a lymph massage thing for your face.
oh, cool. I had no
That's what the
idea.
different curves are for. Is like you go up your chin
Oh,
and yeah, that's what that tool.
wow.
It's actually a tool.
I had no idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I have the same one.
Aw, we have
Yeah.
matching rose quartz hearts.
Yes. Beautiful. I think it's kind of cool looking at the juxtaposition between me and you and how we come from different childhood experiences, like you feeling like you need to rely on yourself because nobody else was trustworthy.
Yeah.
And for me, I just didn't have the experience of trusting myself at all. My family life felt really unstable growing up. Like I didn't feel like I had stability at home. So it left me kind of jangly and looking for a place to land, and I didn't really know how to look inside myself. So it's interesting. Maybe I also didn't know how to, there was nobody really feeling like I could trust, but I didn't think that I could trust myself either. So what
So,
did I do? Oh, I guess
yeah.
I used drugs.
Uh-huh. Trust
Sex,
drugs.
actually. I had a lot of sex looking for somebody I could trust. Like I used sex to find intimacy. I mean, I know that's probably not uncommon, but became very clear of it that like if somebody would have sex with me, it meant that there was some connection that I could trust or something I was getting something out of it. Like
Mhm.
it was definitely a tool. It was a tool that I used to get people to be in my life, to get people to like me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's not great. That's not a good winning formula, as it turns out.
No. Say why.
Well, because it's not stable, and I'm not really getting what I want,
Mm,
and it's manipulative. So I'm not really. What I really want is not sex. It's connection and it's love. It was love what I was looking for. And
yeah,
that was just, I didn't know how, I didn't believe that I was worthy of that just by who I was, that I had to give something
right.
to have somebody want to spend time with me. And that was an easy thing to give.
I'll give you access to my body. You
Yeah,
can please yourself using my body or something, or I can please you, and then maybe
right.
you'll want to be closer to me, and maybe we can find some kind of intimacy or love through that.
Yeah. It didn't really work out so good that way, but I didn't know what else. I didn't have any other tools really.
Right. I wonder like how you would guide yourself now, like if you saw yourself back then, like having sex to try to get love and intimacy and
I
trust.
think it would be great if I had learned, if some wise person said, like, lean into yourself, trust
Mhm.
yourself, trust the flow, love yourself.
I'm thinking about somebody who's so kind of out there and so looking for things outside themselves, and how that would land to that person in that state and in that moment. Like it
Right.
could be like kind of like a lightning rod, like, oh my God, like, or maybe they'd be a little suspicious, like, really? I could love myself? Or no, I don't want to love myself. I kind of imagine that defiance, like, no, that's boring. That's stupid. Like, I want somebody else to love me.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying that those are good reactions, but just kind of imagining what would happen. They're not bad reactions either. Just
Right. Could
What
be.
would be a typical reaction? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I couldn't learn it any sooner than I am. I
Right.
had to go through the whole process to get to right here, which is exactly where I need to be,
Yeah.
learning it now.
Yeah. And in that process, um, I think that your open-heartedness probably taught a lot of people a lot of things,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes, I know that to be true. I've seen that throughout my life, actually, people letting me know that they learned how to love other people because they watched me love other people.
Exactly.
I know that's true.
Yep.
But it's different. Love, the way that my open-heartedness loves other people now is different than when I was a kid looking, like searching, like through sex or whatever. Like it's definitely more a healthier way of connecting with people. Is what it feels
Hmm.
like. And I love my open heart so much. I just when I feel into it, my nervous system calms down. Like
Yeah.
that's when I was like checking in, like everything just went, ah, yeah, that's it, Jess.
Loving with a calm nervous system instead of that, like, so we were talking about attachment styles and like that anxious
Right.
attachment versus like more of a secure, I guess you would call it, a secure, coming from a secure place. If your nervous system is calm, then you're
Yeah,
secure
it's
yourself.
true that the anxious is like because you have something that I need and I don't have it and I need it. And it's that like, am I gonna get it? And it's not stable because I'm looking for it in someone else. But having an open heart, loving other people, which is still about other people, but from the place of trusting the flow, trusting myself, trust feeling in my heart, centered in my heart in my heart. That's the other thing I say. Like when I go out dancing, my little
Mhm.
mantra as I'm driving to dance is keep my heart in my heart and have the most fun. That's what I say every time. It's like keep my heart in my heart, but be open, like share it, be open hearted,
Yeah,
but not give it away.
yeah, yeah,
Keep it here, centered in my own center. So,
yeah.
so beautiful. I'm so into setting those intentions and having those little mantras right in my front pocket or in sticky notes. My kid makes,
Everywhere.
I have so many sticky notes all over my house. My kid makes fun of me so much. My whole cabinet where I go to get coffee in the morning has like all these sticky notes with all these things. Center, my center. One of them says, be generous. And then they added one that said, your kid needs more yerbs.
More what?
Yerbs, it's like a caffeinated drink. Yerba
Oh,
mate.
yerbs. Your kid
Yerbs.
needs more yerbs. They just put it in there.
That's in the center. That's my big mantra. Your kid needs more yerbs. So I've sort of have become like an intention junkie that way. And it just helps me be grounded and be centered and not be flailing around, not being so externally focused and leaning out. Like a lot of my intentions are about staying grounded and centered
Yeah,
and trusting the flow, trusting in the flow. That's really the only thing that we can really trust in, that all
agreed.
rivers lead to the ocean.
Wonder what we would trust in if we wanted to trust in something else. Like, what's that thing underneath trust that we're looking for? It's like about personal validation. I'm okay. Trust that I'm okay. I'm lovable.
I don't know if this is true, so I'll just put that out there. But it seems to me that everything boils down to love or fear. If you take something and boil it down and boil it down, boil it down, boil it down, boil it down, it's either love or fear. So, like fear of being alone, fear of being hurt, these are all reasons not to trust. Maybe that's what the trust is about, is just that it's going to all be okay.
Mm-hmm. In Nia, there's a principle that's love, fear, and peace. Peace is in the middle of
Oh,
the
interesting.
like looking at love and fear as a polarity, and peace is just that stable point in the middle.
Huh. Why is it in the middle? What's in the middle? How does it get from love to what's the middle? Why isn't peace
Love,
love?
fear, peace. I know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't write the principle, but to me, it just what it reminds me of peace is like neutrality, like not really having a big opinion
Hmm.
about this or that. Am I good? Am I bad? I just am,
Like
like,
acceptance or allowing it all. Allowing it all.
yeah, matter of
Allowing fear and
factness
love. Right? That makes
existence.
sense. Right. Just allowing. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's where trust is, just allowing everything to be,
Yeah,
including the fear, right? That I feel like that resonates with me, that trust is allowing it all
yeah,
of it.
Welcoming it all.
pain, the suffering, our bodies falling apart, getting pieces of our heart broken.
People hurting each other, people being terrible to each
Right.
other. It's all part of some bigger process that we can't understand.
Yeah. Yes. And stepping out of the way with our own thoughts and ideas and
Right.
opinions and
Right.
allowing it all just to be.
Yeah.
That's
So
what we can trust in.
there's that. And then there's also like there's things to fight for and there's things to
Yes,
fight against, you
totally.
know? So we have to allow for that stuff too,
Of
right?
course, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not condoning it, it's not accepting it, it's not settling back and like, oh well, there's nothing I can do.
Hmm.
No, do, still fight for what's right, still grow, still change, still stretch, and allow. It's funny, I was talking with a client about having, we often talk about like having both feet in the same place, like 2 feet in the same place, not one foot
Hmm.
here, 1 foot there. Like somehow that's like wrong, except for like 1 foot in the spirit realm
Uh-huh.
and 1 foot grounded in consensual reality or like
Hmm.
day to day life. Like have 1 foot in each place, solid,
Right.
sort of be able to pull back and witness what's happening without being attached to it, without gripping, without just step back and just witness it. And being grounded in that place, that allowing place, but also fully grounded in this life and like fight for what's right and be a good person and do good things and learn and grow and change and evolve this life. So grounded in both.
There's
That's
this
pretty cool.
concept in a realization process that the more embodied we can be, the more we can actually find ourselves in our bodies, the more open we are, the more contact we can have with others and with the environment. Like that, when we can't find ourselves inside our bodies, we have a harder time actually making contact. And it's that thing of like going out, going out to find is a whale eyes, it's
Mm-hmm.
like that anxious thing of just like trying, trying, trying. And that if we can settle down and back into the body and be here and relax inside the body, it gives us, yeah, the most ability to be the most intimate with others
Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah,
Which is what we were talking about earlier in like my mantra of center my center in my center and keep my heart in my heart and
yeah,
open hearted here so I can be more connected rather than like that needy, greedy, anxious-y thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it
I
also reminds
definitely
me of the 2 feet, like one in, it's not in the spirit world, but it's kind of like a foot inside myself, 100% inside, and I can be 100% outside if I can be 100% inside.
yeah,
If I can really fully be
yeah.
here, I can finally fully be with whatever's outside. But there's such a tendency to spill out and to go in front of ourselves and to be reaching for something or grasping. And then we're not actually making contact, and often that's a disturbance when somebody's reaching out and it pushes others away.
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Mm-hmm.
have the contact we're yearning for. So, yeah, to come inside.
Yeah.
And also like that, okay, I'll just say one more thing about this, that the finding that central channel, the subtle core of the body, the bright light and that filament in the center, the vertical channel thing, that to me feels like spirit connection, but then being like fully in the body feels like earth connection, like embodied, like in a human
Mm-hmm.
body. So that also feels like those 2 feet, that we can find it all right inside ourselves, right inside our actual bodies.
Which
So
I think is important because we're in bodies. Like that's
yeah,
the
it is
experience we're
important.
having. Like I sat
Yeah.
with a spiritual teacher for a while and like it was beautiful and I learned so many things, new concepts for me and really opened up so many things, but it was so one-sided. It was about getting like leaving the body and
Right.
like being like 2 feet in the spiritual realm or like
Right.
not embodied and it was cool because it was so different. I learned a lot of things, but it's like but we're
What
in
about
bodies.
this?
I want to use this thing. I want to feel this thing. I want to like live in this thing too.
Yes,
So
totally.
I it sort of became a pendulum swing for me because I was, I really feel like that's what you're talking about is like both,
Yeah.
both. Because hello, we have a body. It's
It's kind of
amazing.
it's very weirdly the final frontier, It's very weirdly like it's like you get through a whole life and never be in your body somehow. And so, in pleasure boot camp, when I send people out to do a pleasure walk, often they'll come back with like talking about like the thoughts they had or the thing they saw, or, and it's like, but what happened in your body?
Mm-hmm.
Like pleasure's not in the mind, I mean, it is partly, but the body is like the last one, that people will go to of like, oh, it felt amazing to swing my arms, or like
Mm-hmm.
my whole heart melted when I saw this thing. It like can be more kind of almost theoretical pleasure, and that's what I'm trying to do in Pleasure Boot Camp, is get people to actually feel their bodies. So
Mm-hmm.
I realize the more I teach it, the more I have to like really direct people like straight to their bodies, because it's the edgiest. It's the least known. Our bodies are the least known. And I also started calling it the multi-billion-dollar temple you have yet to unpack your bags in. It's like your
Mm-hmm.
multi-million-dollar temple. You own this thing. You can't buy this at the store. Like it's not for sale. We couldn't create one if we wanted to. It's a freaking miracle, the
It
body.
is. It is.
It's such a miracle. We came from two cells. Two cells, two microscopic things, and it evolved
And
into
look at the
this
thing.
this
It's
wise,
amazing.
yeah, a very
Mm-hmm.
wise and smart machine,
Mm-hmm.
without even trying to do anything. Our body does amazing feats constantly. Do you know that stomach cells regenerate like in 48 hours?
Thank you, stomach.
Thank you, stomach. Yeah. It's like a rebuilding machine. It's constantly reinventing itself.
Incredible. It's incredible. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. The multi-billion-dollar temple you have yet to move into. Most of us, I'll say. A lot of people have moved into their multi-billion-dollar temples.
Yeah. Well, is anything you want to leave for our listeners about that? Like an invitation, like go love your body, go dance around the living room, or lay in the grass and feel sunshine on your skin, or
Yeah.
celebrate being in the body, whatever body,
And
however.
learn to trust it. Like start, if you haven't already, start to learn to trust it and be curious about the messages from your body. Start to learn to, what does it feel like to be in the body? Because I think that that's the only place that we can really ultimately trust is, the body. And even that's going to break down. But in the moment, we can trust it because it's here. We
Mm.
can trust what's here in the moment. I think that that's what is trustable is the moment.
Right. I think you're right. I think that's it. Because that's really the only thing that's really real. Is
It's the only thing that
this, right.
exists.
Yeah.
This is all there is right here, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, start to build relationship. One thing I really like this concept is that the body never lies.
Mm.
It is the one place that, always tells the truth. The body will always tell you the
Mm.
truth.
Interesting. My
Just
stomach
learn
is
how to-
growling and I trust that I'm hungry.
Ah, see?
Lunchtime. So I'm going to listen to that and go get myself some food.
Awesome. Well, have a beautiful lunch.
Thank
And
you.
everybody, thank you for being here with us today and listening and entertaining love and trust.
Hmm. Yeah. And if you have any thoughts, anybody has any thoughts about this, I'm curious, drop some thoughts in the chat. Is
In
that what
the
you're supposed to do?
comments,
Drop your comment in the comments.
click the link below, whatever that is. No, 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 I don't think so.
Let us know what you think in
Yes,
some form or another.
yes,
Curious.
yes. And we have like 2 reviews. So if you've made it this far, you might want to go leave us a review. We want you to go leave a review. How about let's be direct? Please, we're begging you.
Yeah,
We
right.
need a review.
We trust that you will.
I do not trust
No.
that. No way. No, we do not trust you at
No.
all. Prove us wrong. Show us there's something to trust in this world, in this life.
Perfect.
All right. Here
All
we
right,
go.
sweetheart. I love you.
I love you too.
I
Mwah.
love you all. And I don't trust you at all.
I love you all, but I do not trust you.
Bye, sweetie.
Mwah.
Love you.
Bye. Okay. You had your way. Big love.
No.
Every time you say a word, you do a pose.
Like YMCA?
Kind of, but it doesn't matter what pose it is. Just it gets
Okay.
you like into it,
Okay.
Want to try?
Ooh, how about like big love hug?
Oh, we want to have a dance?